Sup, my name is Ray for the TheYugiohCouncil. This is a series we have not been able to do in quite a while. This is Pack versus Pack, March 2016. And basically what this is, we put two packs up, and we're going to talk about them, their high points, the low points, just everything in the set. We're going to choose 10 cards, the best 10, and we're going to give a reason why we think that set should win, and why it's the better of two sets. It's a completely different thing than most people do, no disrespect, because typically we started it with card versus and then we went over to pack versus, so there's that. So you're watching Pack versus. Let's make this happen. This month's is Duelist Revolution versus Breakers of Shadow, and you can vote on next month's in the comment section. Rules are, give me two packs that are currently released in TCG that I can use to go over. It could be any two packs, just make sure they're equal. So let's put it in perspective. Breakers of Shadow versus a Duelist pack really wouldn't be fair because you can't balance 100 cards to like 30. So you got to make sure that they're in the same kind of class. So if it's going to be a gold series, it's got to go up against another gold series. That way we can keep it fair. There will be, I want to say every few months, there'll be a special edition one where you can vote on any of those packs, but we're just going to mainly focus on the balance of that. So that way we can just keep it fun. So get involved, it's going to be amazing. So let's talk about these two sets. We have Duelist Revolution, Breakers of Shadow. I think I want to talk about Duelist Revolution first because it's one of my favorite sets, in all honesty. But when you look at this set, and you probably go into it, you're like, Duelist Revolution's fucking amazing, man. It gave us Solemn Warning, gave us Valor, it gave us Scrap Dragon, gave us Duality. Then you stop and think, what else did it give us? What during that time was peaked out when it was first released to right now? How well has it stood the test of time? And in all honesty, the set hasn't been that great. Now, don't worry, we're going to go over all 10 cards that I just mentioned, so let's do this. Like I mentioned, Miracle Synchro Fusion. This is the lower of the cards I will mention because there's not too much outside of the big four, with the big four belief for last. Miracle Synchro Fusion is in this kind of weird category that if you pull it off, it's really cool, it's really interesting, but there's not too many cards to utilize it. You have to synchro it fusion monsters. So that's a big holy shit by itself. I also want to talk about Wiseman's Chalice. Wiseman's Chalice had a lot of potential and then fell really flat really quickly, and I think that pretty much describes Wiseman's Chalice. Those are two cards. Chivalry. Again, just like Wiseman's Chalice. Oh my god, this card is actually pretty decent. But we have better cards. That's three. My fourth I'm going to mention is Horn of the Phantom Beast. Still has a lot of potential because it's a draw power card that gives a Beast Warrior 800, but the main issue is, outside of a few decks like Fire Fist, it has never really shined. And I know what you're probably saying, there's King Tiger Watanabe to utilize it, so that way your opponent pretty much can't get over it, and there's a soft lock for it. True, fair enough, but in this game, day and age, Raigeki, Dark Hole, those are all being commonly played. Now, you could play something absurd like Smashing Ground or Lightning Vortex. By today's standards, they are just absurd. So don't get offended if you're using them. It's cool that you're using them. I'm also going to mention Synchro Fusion is what I'm not talking about yet. Stygian Street Patrol. This is an interesting thing because anything that's a Fiend deck gets a free special summon when this guy's sitting in the graveyard. He does a little bit of burn damage. You probably saw him if you played during Infinity format or you've ever gone against Infinities. He's pretty much a staple in that deck. That's not saying too much because he's not splashable, but we're not going to focus on just splashability. We're going to focus on all over the place. Synchro Fusionist, one of my favorite cards, obviously. Just makes searching for instant fusion really hilarious. Because you junk synchro and get them out. Synchro to level 5. Say, God, can't even think. Armades. Can't even think right now. And you get instant fusion. And then from instant fusion, you can do like 20 other things. So he's gotten better over time. He's like a fine wine that you just sip on. And you're like, this doesn't taste right. But if you leave it in the bottle for a little while, it tastes 10 times better. And that's what Synchro Fusionist is. It's gotten better over time. Much, much better because of Norton. And I do have to be honest with that. Duality. Amazing when it first came out, made gadgets 10 times more consistent. Pretty much nowadays, the best usage is going to be Yosenju. And I know some people just hate the crap out of Yosenju. It's cool. I like Yosenju because they're interesting. when you're not playing set 5 and you're just attacking. Pretty simple deck. Anyway, duality, you give up your special summon and you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck and grab a card. Now, it's not uberly overpowered like other cards, but it still stands the test of time today, just not nearly as good. Because originally, every deck needed 3 duality, man. Hey, it sounds familiar, doesn't it? Scrap Dragon. A level 8 synchro that stood the test for time for a while until we got Direwolf, who was much easier to summon by most people's opinion. He was much easier to summon because you don't have to have the tuner. He's generic. He does the same fucking thing Scrap Dragon does. You target Direwolf just like you target Scrap Dragon. The main difference is that Scrap Dragon was able to actually blow up, say, like Dandelion, because you didn't have to target it itself. And to be fair, with Direwolf, you don't have to either, because we're just, like, reflecting on this whole thing. You don't have to with Direwolf either, but with Direwolf, it has to be a Beast Warrior. So, and moving down my little list here, Effect Veiler. One of the last 2 cards I'm going to talk about from Duelist Revolution, because we've talked about 8 previous cards, and now Veiler. Veiler has stand the test of time, being the most influential card from Duelist Revolution. It is the one that, when you think about Duelist Revolution, besides Solemn Warning, it's one of the 2 cards that should instantly come to your mind, like, that's the card that I wanted out of that set the most. Solemn Warning. Same thing as Effect Veiler. Still stands the test of time, still a staple among many decks if you're going to play traps. Now, Effect Veiler, let's just jump back on Effect Veiler. It's gotten better, just like Synchro Fusionist, but much better. You have the tuning aspect is still there. Not tons of people use that. But you still are nullifying your opponent. You're just throwing down the Effect Veiler. No cost. Nullify your effect. Solemn Warning. Pay 2,000. I'm getting rid of that monster. Any summon I choose. And there's nothing quite like Solemn Warning anymore. And which I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's kind of a bad thing because you can't stop summons as easily. But it's better for the game because it keeps the game healthier. So that's the 10 cards I wanted to go over in Duelist Revolution and why the set still stands the test of time. So let's talk about Breakers of Shadow. A fairly recent set, but most people will probably go, no, it got hit by the ban list, it's trash. But let's talk about this. So even though 3 weeks into the Breakers of Shadow lifespan, Konami went out and hit certain cards that hurt the sale aspects of Breakers of Shadow. Let's put it that way. And to be fair, to be 100% fair about this, Breakers of Shadow by itself is still an amazing set that a lot of people just want to kind of go, eh. So I'm going to talk about some cards from competitive to casual, just like I did with Duelist Revolution, and we'll take it from there. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Kaijus are pretty much like the answers to everything. Give them a dark hole that blows up everything on the board. This is good. And then 2 Kaijus come out. One on your opponent's side, one on your side. You're going to take the stronger one, and you're going to ram the shit out of your opponents. Or you play Skill Drain, and then you steal it with removing Brainwashing, and you go douche mode. It's so much fun. In all seriousness, it is one of my favorite cards, because it does have that graveyard effect too, as well as searching out. Moving on. Fiendish Rush Rhino. I believe I said that right. Pretty much super duper Fiend support, and who's going to use the most Fiend support? The deck that's been meta relevant for about 2 years now. Burning Abyss. They love this guy. You should love him too for that reason. Because it keeps the deck supporting without just giving it another Burning Abyss. It's pretty much that generic support for Fiends across the board. And since Burning Abyss are Fiends, they actually get love with him. So that's good. Cosmo Tin Can. Pretty much, in my opinion, the best Cosmo card from the set. Because most people will tell you Cosmojo or Cosmo Tin Can were one of the 2 better cards from the set because they're used in multiple numbers. They do more for the deck. I feel Tin Can's just a little bit better than Cosmojo. Correct me if you feel I'm wrong. Both cards are amazing. I'm not going to sit here and like deny that one's better than the other. We're just highlighting certain aspects of the set. And Cosmo Tin Can is definitely one of the reasons to, get excited about this set. Trap Tricks Replica. I feel a lot of people have not fully realized how good this is. Because it's like 10 to 20 bucks per replica, which it kind of surprises me because I was expecting a lot more. Time Space Trap Hole, any future trap holes, bottomless trap hole, chaos trap hole for that Monarch matchup when you're siding it in, you can actually go to this and then just soft lock. It helps soft locks. I'm surprised it's not out there more. It's an amazing rank 4, and if you have yet to actually snatch one up, I'd probably snatch one up because they're still really, really good. I also want to talk about Atlantean Prince Nektibus, because obviously, how do you make Atlanteans and Mermels even better? You give them new support in the Atlantean Prince. Not only does it mill one, yes, I'm using that word, it sends one from the deck to the grave, which will trigger that Water Monsters effect, if it has one, if you're going to, say Dragoons, but it gives you another copy to hand. If he's used for a Water Monster effect, Megalo, then you can bring one more back from the grave. This sets up OTKs left and right. If you don't think Prince is good, then I don't know what's wrong with you. It's like saying Prince is sliced bread, but then you add on butter, and it tastes that much better. That's pretty much fucking Prince with Mermels, if I can put it into an aspect that people may understand instead of not understanding. He's amazing for the deck. It's amazing what he does. And just, it makes Mermels that much better. They have risen back up to meta, and they've been either in the shadow or meta for the past 3 years, and that's fucking amazing. Deep Sea Diva into Atlantean Prince is even better. But moving on, because I don't want to stay just on the Mermel stuff, Cyber Dragon Infinity. How do you make a deck that everyone loves 10 times better? You give them Cyber Dragon Infinity. But, obviously Konami had to hit Plotamius to ease out the Cyber Dragon Infinity spam, because, let's be honest, it was meant to be used in Cyber Dragons. And it's not the end-all be-all card that's so broken, in Cyber Dragons, but it makes the deck more viable. They don't have to just go OTK. They actually have something they can do while they're setting up. They can lower your resources. They can make their play safer. And that's primarily what Infinity was supposed to be used for. But Infinity in general can be used in any machine deck because Cyber Dragon Nova allows that. So, to be fair, it's Cyber Dragon Nova's fault, not Cyber Dragon Infinity. It's not Infinity's fault, it's just Nova's. So, as occurred to me now, we are down to the last 4. So let's make this matter. Dragon's Bond. A card that will get 10 times better over time, as long as we get better dragons that have 2500 attack stat. Now, the reason I say this is because Star Spark Dragon lock is nice with it, don't get me wrong. But the main problem with that is trying to actually get out of Star Spark Dragon in multiple decks and actually get the Dragon's Bind, which is not searchable. Quaking Mirror Force. I, again, feel like this is such a sleeper card that people are not jumping on for whatever reason. I feel like overnight this thing's going to get so hyped that it jumps in price. The ability to slap down your opponent's monster face down, multiple monsters face down. They go to swarm you, you play Quaking Mirror Force, you can change the entire tide of a game off of Quaking Mirror Force. Combine that with a deck like Yosenju that can drop Lightning Chidori, or any wind deck that can make Lightning Chidori, and you got some serious shit going on right there. But Quaking Mirror Force also says they can't flip back face up, giving you time to make your plays. Now, if they're playing something like Monarchs, obviously that's going to be a different boat. A much, much different boat. Solemn Strike. Can't wait for this to go to freaking 1 on the ban list. Does that tell you how good it is? I think everyone can't stand it at multiples because it's hard to, make a play and then your opponent plays Solemn Strike and recover from that. It's difficult. Twin Twisters. The middle ground of MST and Heavy Storm. I'm finally happy to be able to say that after so fucking long. Twin Twisters is the middle ground of Heavy Storm and MST. We do not need Heavy Storm back just quite yet. We can actually wait a while. We don't need Harpy's Feather Duster back because we have multiple Twin Twists, and I'm okay with that now. Kudos to Konami for finally fucking doing something right with that. So, which of these two sets is the bigger, the better juggernauts? Is it Duelist Revolution, or is it Breakers of Shadow? And when you break down each of the sets, Breakers of Shadow is still 10 times better right now. And in the future, it should still remain 10 times better. We have a few sleeper cards that have yet to see complete potential. As where Duelist Revolution, what you get from the get-go was pretty much what you had. It wasn't too much to work from it. Do you guys agree or do you disagree? Share your thoughts down in the comments section below and let me know what you want to see next on Pack vs. Pack. I'm Ryu for the TheYugiohCouncil. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe for more. Card Versus will be coming back in about 2 weeks, maybe next week. Unsure, but it's going to be soon. Thanks for watching, as always. I'll see you then. Peace. Well, tomorrow.